Hello guys, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Akhmad Dzulfiqar Ilyas, and the ID students number 0191410001. Okay. And then in this video, I would like to talk about figurative language. So this video is made to submit my assignment in the subject basic analysis of poetry. So before we're going to really analyzing about poetry, we need to know this kind of things. So in the other video, you see I'm explaining about what is poetry, and the other one the types of poetry stuff. And then in this video, I would like to talk about figurative language, which kind of a kind of speech or a kind of statement that you could use and you might see in the poetry. Okay, so just let's get move into it. And then the first one is it's called metaphor. So basically it's just it's kind of comparison between two things that have something in common. It's like, yeah, it's like that. For the example, it's like life is like riding a bike. So it's just you comparing a life with a bike that have something in common. Like maybe life keeps going on when you're riding. Life is always going round and round. Just like when you're riding a bike, you have to keep pedaling to move forward, just like that. And the next one is simile. Simile is a kind of phrase that compares something using like or as. So for the example is her smile as bright as the sun. Just like that. Maybe you want to hear some other example, like what is it again? Oh yeah, it's like her life as contagious as a drug, something like that. He's using like or as. And then next is hyperbole. Hyperbole is like to be more simple, it's just an exaggeration of some speech to make it more dramatic. It's like she's crying like rain. Like, there's no one like a rain, but to make it more dramatic, you just put it like that. Next is personification. It's like when you make a dead object into have more like human quality. So it's just like the sun is smiling at us, or the cloud is sad and sorrow, just like that. Like there's no way sun can be like that, but we put it this kind of human emotion just to make it more beautiful, I think. The next is irony. Irony is a statement who makes the opposite of what being said. It's like kind of making saying something literal but means different. So for the irony, it's like the car is burned under the water, just like that, or the doctor gets sick, something like that. It's kind of irony, right? And then it's metonymy. Yeah, it's metonymy. It's kind of phrase that used to change another phrase with similar meaning, and it's kind of used to be a kind of indirect manner. So it gets it's kind of I don't know if you have heard of these idioms. Like, yeah, it's kind of idioms. Metonymy. It's like he has too much on her plate right now. It means that he's really busy, but we make it less familiar, less manner like that. And then it's just we use that, like we kind of using a plate, this plate what is it again, plate explanation, right? And then is Alphysm. Alphysm, I don't know. Alphysm. Alphysm is a replacement of a phrase that might sound offensive for someone to be less more offensive, or not even offensive like that. Like instead you say that you wanted to taking a pee, you can say that I want to pick a flower. Just like if you want to kind of take a rest in the middle of the meeting or something, maybe you can say I want to go to the back. It's a kind of and less offended to the people that would hear that, instead you're saying it directly. And then is Plainism. Plainism, okay. The use of more words for something that are not necessarily needed. Like you're putting this kind of words that actually doesn't need to need that long explanation. Like for the example is I hide the money in a big box of steel was coated with more steel, and then that required a code to open it. That's a Plainism, but for the real is you can just say I hide the money in the safe, just like that. That's Plainism. Okay. The next is synecdoche. Synecdoche is a kind of a statement of a small part of something to kind of you kind of say this small part of something, but it's actually meanings the whole thing of it. So it's kind of for the example is kind of his new wheels looks good. I mean, you just say the wheels, but it's actually referring to the whole engine, like a whole car, something like that. And then the next is going to I'm going to explain about allegory. Okay, allegory is kind of a different meaning of metaphor. Like if you see metaphor, it's just kind of comparing things with other things with similar meaning. Allegory is kind of doing that, but in much deeper meaning. Like example is when life gives you lemon, you have to make some lemonade. It's just like that. It kind of have this not just something that just like that, but it's kind of more deep into it. Just like the metaphor that I say is your life is like riding a bike. It's actually maybe kind of in allegory. Just want to make it sure. The next one is paradox. Paradox is unlike I kind of feel like it's kind of like ironic, where you make two things that really unmatch, but in one sentence. But the paradox is more like make a contradict statement. So just like example is he is the smartest idiot in the world. You know that smart and idiot is exact the opposite. And another thing, like he's it's like sees a light to my darkness, something like that. That's a paradox. And the next one is allusion. Allusion is a kind of you're making a kind of connection of a reference of people, places, events, or literary works by implying this kind of reference to the phrase, such as maybe like small example, like she treats us like a Shrek. Shrek is meaning to the film Shrek. And if you have watched Shrek, the main character is an ogre and treated so badly, and people kind of scared of him, something like that. Next is litotes. If I'm spelling it wrong, I don't know. Litotes. It's kind of a negative express for a negative express statement of affirmative statement. It's like you saying no, but you're agree of something. It's like the shoes isn't too bad after all. It's like the shoes isn't it's kind of it's a negative expression, right? But it isn't so bad. It's not so bad. Like you could say that like he's agreeing to the shoes that being good, but he using this little this like he's using his negative expression. The next is maybe this is my last one that I know. I'm just there are so many figurative language that I could not including all of it, but I just kind of picking the ones that might be really common in us. Like you will kind of maybe see this in the some poem. And that last is meiosis. It's to express something that is actually important to be less important. Like your punch don't even leave a scratch. It's something like a punch is a really important. Like it's a fucking hurt. I'm sorry for the language. It's really hurt, but uh, you make it like it seems it doesn't even matter. Like it doesn't even matter if you get punched. Like you can say apa? Like you could say that this isn't this isn't even hurting, like, something like that. Maybe that's all for me. Thank you so much for listening. I'm really sorry for my bad speaks of habit. I don't know, maybe if you hear some kind of really bad language, and I don't know, I'm really sorry for the bad pronunciation because this is still new for me. I'm still learning. Thank you so much for listening, and I see you in the next video. Thank you.